So I'm Philip Jones, editor of the Bookseller magazine, and I chair the overall judging for the British Book Awards, and I chair in particular the audiobook category. So I'm delighted to be introducing the audiobooks of the year for the 2019 British Book Awards. So the first audiobook I'm going to talk about from the audiobook shortlist is First Man In by Middleton. What I liked about this audiobook was it sold in similar numbers to the hardback edition of Ant's memoir. It is a story of his life growing up as an Essex lad, joining the army very young, going through various trials and turmoils, and eventually going into the Special Boat Service. And what I most liked about it was that he tells the story himself, and he tells it as if he's telling it afresh each time. So when he's involved in a scrap outside an Essex nightclub, you really live it with him, and I think his narration of his own story is superb. Next up is Milkman, the Man Booker winning book by the Northern Irish writer Anna Burns and narrated by Northern Irish actor Brid Brennan. What I liked about this one was Faber produced it when they produced the print edition, so they produced it and made that investment before it won the Man Booker. Also, readers have talked about the complicated vernacular that Anna Burns writes in, and I think having a Northern Irish actor telling that story in the language that it was told in the book just lifts it to another level and makes it, I think, approachable to another level of readership that otherwise wouldn't be there. Next up is Lethal White, written by Robert Galbraith, otherwise known as J.K. Rowling. This is the fourth in the Strike series, and the fourth that's been narrated by the actor Robert Glenister. And I think his use of voices, his pacing throughout the audiobook is superb, and obviously it being a part of a successful series, it's sold bucket loads too, so that's why it's on the shortlist. Next up is Brief Answers to Big Questions, the last book we'll get from Stephen Hawking. What the judges and I really admired about this book was bringing in Ben Whishaw to narrate it. There's a range of voices, but Ben's is the one that carries on throughout the book, and he is essentially reading Stephen Hawking's lectures and essays, and he makes it almost explainable, almost clear when you listen to that narration. It is the voice of Paddington talking about very complex subjects, but very adroitly. So an audiobook that needs no introduction, but it came out simultaneously with the hardback publication of her memoir. It is the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. This is partly there because it is Michelle Obama. Who wouldn't want to hear her narrate her own story? But it was also a feat of achievement, a feat of reading. It's 19 hours of audio. She's had to sit in a studio reading a life story that obviously she knows very well, but is already written down. And she does it similar to Ant Middleton, and she brings a freshness to it and a unique voice to it that really sells it, and I think again lifts the story to another level. Last but not least is The Lost Daughters by Joy Ellis, narrated by Richard Armitage, and this is an Audible Studios production. They found this author on their Kindle charts, no print edition of this book, and produced it as an audio book original, and it's done very well in the crime and thriller lists. It's only been outsold, I think, in 2018 by Lethal White. It doesn't have a physical version, so I'm just going to show you a picture of it on our supplement.